Good numbing, and welcome back everyone to session 19 of Atelier Ryza 3, The Alchemist of the End and the Secret Key. Oh, and what will probably be our last Ryza session full fucking stop. It's tragic to be here, because I didn't want to be here as quickly as we are, but the last DLC is out and I said I'd cover it, so we're at the end of the road. Firstly, I'll turn that down just a smidge. They added new... Yes. Save my settings. They added new graphic settings options in the patch. So I turned off depth of field finally, and I turned off motion blur finally. I don't know what star filter is, and so I've left it on for now because it was on by default. So I was like, I'll just leave it on for now, but everything else I've just got as is. Let's dive straight in. And I'll change the costumes once we're in, because it's still from the costumes we had from the last one, so I will actually change the costumes afterwards. But we've unlocked new areas and new recipes. But everything's going to be so much cleaner, because there's no depth of field at all. Yeah, see, this is still the costumes from the end of the last stream, so I'll change them when we're in. It's just I know a cutscene would interrupt. Oh, looks like you've got something on your mind. What's the matter? So I thought I'd just wait for the loud vehicles to pass. I just got a letter from Clifford. I want you to read it with me. Now keep it. No. It's the last Ryza stream I'm probably going to be doing. I'm going to not just have them in their swimwear. We got a letter from Clifford. I hope we get to see him. If we're going over to the second area, to the second game's area, we might as well. Yeah, I'm teaching that. Yeah, let's go all the way to the city. An uncharted settlement in an area segregated by the Research Institute. Oh, so hi, one man. Hope you're doing well. That's right. Clifford's letter said it's on the outskirts of the royal capital. There seems to be ruins here. The way he described it kind of implies that it won't be finding any exotic treasures. I checked the maps, and the location seemed to be in some mountain in the middle of nowhere. My entire platinum playthrough. Fair enough. I've never heard of such a place. But it doesn't mean it can't exist. I see my rankings video as we speak. Fair. There are plenty of places up north, not too far from the capital, where no one ever goes. The Research Institute was connected to that royal palace place where you used to work, right? Yes, but I've never heard of it. Must have happened after I left. Either way, it doesn't sound good. Worst case scenario, they could have been doing some gate experiments. Honestly... we need to focus on the code of the universe. We can't really ignore this place either. Anti-Ryza 3 attire, just a Ryza 2 attire without the jacket I had. Yeah, agreed. And if there really is a gate there, then we have no time to lose. But we're on the opposite side of the capital, not to mention far from any port. There are Valence Company ships departing from Kirkenport that could take us there. From the nearest port, there doesn't seem to be a carriage service, so we'll just have to walk. We need to prepare for the long journey then. Alright, let's get ready and go to Kirkenport. Alright, I genuinely went to press in the left stick to make it auto sprint like we're playing Maruru. Like, wrong game, you have to hold a button. Changing room. What am I feeling? That's... Oh, whoops. No, I don't want the accessories. You know what? Actually, I'll just keep her in her default for now. I'm having you in Master Samurai, though. You in Samurai, because it's sick as hell. I'll put you in Dante. That's my favourite costume of yours, so you can have it. Can't you teleport there? Do my... You want, where is it? This. No, I'll keep her in her default, sorry. I kind of like you without the coat. I prefer you without the coat. Have a jacket. I'll... If you're in your Ryza 1 costume, no, you're far removed from that. I'll have you in that. As we know, we continue to listen to Atlas Sophie's music. And I remembered to turn my headset down after Final Fantasy 16, because FF16 is so fucking quiet. Oh, I never actually did that fucking bird quest on the other DLC island. I was like, what the fuck's this normal quest? I never actually went and found that third bird, nor did I ever go find the texts on the other right. Whoops. Genuinely, as soon as I finished the last stream, I was like, alright, I'll actually start working on that platinum at some point soon. And then I started playing other games, and I just never got around to it. I still have not platinumed this game. And it's like, it's really stupid. I really should. Yeah, I'm still here. Let's go to Kirkham. And we can appreciate this better because all the graphic settings came out. So I've actually, like, you know, I've turned off the depth of field so it doesn't blur in the distance. I've turned off motion blur so everything looks nice. The only thing I haven't turned off is star effect because I honestly don't know what that is. So I was like, it's on by default. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, it can stay on. If it ends up being something significant, then whatever. But genuinely, I don't know if this applies to every version, but on this version they had a patch where this graphic settings option was added. So you can change reflection quality, depth of field, turn on and off bloom, turn on and off light shafts, alter motion blur, the star filter, and the rain quality. So it's like they basically added PC settings to the console versions, and I'm like, that's very much appreciated, thank you. Anyway, let's head back. Let's head off. Oh, we're just here. Oh, okay. What's with the wooden fences? This fence must be the boundary for the area segregated by the Research Institute. No doubt. You can see the royal seal right there on the no trespassing sign. Still can't believe this place exists. Now we're finally here, I feel invigorated. Also, now we're back in, you know, Ryza 2's area, can we start seeing some of the Ryza 2 faces, please? Can they at least just make a cameo appearance if nothing else? I wonder what the settlement will be like. Better be on the lookout for it. Oh, this is different. Oh yeah, outskirts. Outskirts. We're not in like the actual city area. We're in like an isolated chunk of it near the capital. Huh, I thought it was just going to be Ryza 2's map. Maybe we get Ryza 2's map later on? Well, colour me surprised. I thought it was just going to be Ryza 2's map. It's actually got some new shit. And this is the free DLC. Oh god, there's all sorts behind us as well. What's that? Well, they mentioned that, you know, Clifford was the one that sent the letter, so here's hoping that means we at least bump into him. Oh, that's going to be to leave, isn't it? Yep. God, there's like 3 quests. Let's go look around first. Oh, new resource. What have we got? Lava rocks. Fine, what level are the enemies?
Ryza.
91. And it's gonna take me like a fight or two to remember how this game fucking works. But we'll get there. Whilst we listen to some more Atelier Sophie music, I think it's just First Lotus. I've got the same playlist, because I haven't changed it since when we last played. So whatever it was when we last played is still the playlist. Yeah, it's absolutely First to Lotus. And I've decided, because I know ourselves umming and ahhing whether we do more Final Fantasy 16 or more Atelier Maruru tomorrow. I've decided we'll do Atelier Maruru tomorrow, and then we'll pick up FF16 again on Saturday. I'm not going to bother with fights too much because we're already max level. I just want to more kind of explore and see the area, because I want to get this all done in one stream, because if not, I don't know when I'll get the time in my schedule to, like, do the rest. So also we'll do our exploring and usual and whatnot, but if it gets to, like, I don't know, like half 11, 12-ish, and we haven't got that far in the story, I'm going to start, like, focusing down on it to try and make sure we get it done in one stream. I am working this evening, so I can't stream forever as per, but we'll try and get it all done in one. And I've already know. Oh shit! Didn't mean to run into you. Oh, and it's Nefertiti. Oh, the music to play. I almost wanted to stay. Dun 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 dun. But like, I've already seen on like communities and whatnot, people already starting to get excited for the fact that we're only 3 months away from Tokyo Game Show, which means there's a good chance we're only 3 months away from whatever the next Atelier game or next Gust game is, since they tend to announce it there. The people are like, well, all the DLCs for Ryza 3's out, so the game's entirely finished. And Marie's like gone gold. Well, I think it's either that or it's literally just about to. So that's going to be wrapping up. So that means whatever's next is going to be what the team's entire focus is going to be on. And Tokyo Game Show is only 3 months away, and I'm like, fuck it, alright, well, let's just see, alright? Let's not get too excited already. It's been a very busy year for Gust. I know that they have a habit of having annual releases, but it doesn't mean they're always going to be able to do it. Especially if the scale of their games is just going to get bigger and bigger. I say that, I've been saying this since, like, this game released, but I wouldn't be surprised if similar to, between Ryza 2 and Ryza 3, they have a smaller, and I say smaller with a big asterisk because Sophie 2 is still kind of big on its own right, but smaller-esque release in between to kind of bridge the gap. Speaking of bridging the gap, how am I getting over to this thing? Oh, I can see there's a bridge. Probably I need to get it risen up. Whether that smaller-esque game is going to be Dusk 4, or another Mysterious, or another Island, or maybe they go back and they give us Mana 3, or whatever, who knows? You know what would be wild? If they remade Salberg 1, 2, and 3, and then use that as an opportunity to make a Salberg 4. That would be wild. Oh, can I not interact with this yet? Is it something I have to wait till the plot demands it? I think I have to wait until the plot demands it. Can I run up? No, it's invisible wall, damn it. And it has to get back up. Well, I mean, while we're here. Key to the future. And I know I say this every time. I felt it more when we was playing Totally, because Totally moves so slow. But I always get whiplash when I play a different Atelier game, then come back to Ryza 3, with how goddamn fast you move in this game in comparison to those. You move so quick in this compared to all the other ones. Anyway, strange. It's a completely normal village. Nothing suspicious here at all. People are looking at us. I don't sense any hostility. You never know this place was so remote. You don't look familiar. Are you visitors by any chance? We apologise for showing up out of the blue. We're on an exploratory mission. Not at all. I'm the village doctor, so to speak. I'm the oldest, so I guess I'm in charge. Rather bored of you to come climbing over the fence without permission from the palace, though, don't you think? We promise we won't be any trouble. Would you mind telling us a bit about this place? Alright then, come to my clinic. You must be exhausted from the long journey. I was just cutscene goes like, oh, yeah, all right, Dion, you doing okay? Oh, it's you. I was just like, what? Who's questing me? Missed my chance to travel before summer vacation started. Hey, everyone all right? Well, I'm a student at the academy in the capital. I'm back home now for summer break, but there's this girl in my class I always liked. I wanted to tell her how I felt before the break, and I didn't have the guts. And now it's really bugging you, huh? Then why don't you go tell her now? I can't. She's gone back to her parents' house in Claria for this summer. But what if she meets someone while she's home? Do you think you feel bad now? I know! I know. But what if she thinks I'm a creep for just showing up at her doorstep? I'm just some random guy from her class. All the vehicles are going to sound louder that pass by our window. Because it rained last night. And I don't know, I'm not a master of like everything else, but when everything like the ground's damp and whatnot, it makes everything echoey. So I will be muting my mic, or be quicker on the mute the mic if vehicles pass by, because it's hella loud. Think it'd be alright if I send her a letter first? Sure, I mean, why not? It's not like you have anything better to do during break, right? You're right, because I need to start thinking about what to say. No, I can't do this. I'm not a letter writer, how am I supposed to know what to say? Alright, let me go get you something to help clear your head. What does he need? Medicine with free spirit. Alright, I'll have to try and remember that's there after we set up our atelier here. How the world am I going to catch these things? What's the matter? I'm a puny researcher, you see. At the moment I'm trying to collect punables from around the world. But puny around here are extremely quick and I'm having trouble catching them. Oh, I didn't realise there were many agile puny. Nor did I. If you'd happen to defeat a rare puny, would you be willing to give it to me? Of course. You'll be compensated for your efforts, I really appreciate it. Oh, we literally just saw those gold punies. We'll go do that in a minute. Like, they're literally over here. I'll head over there in a sec. Well, I'll ride our trusty steed to get over there, but I'll head over there in a minute. I don't take monster saying requests anymore. You need to take your business elsewhere. Anymore? Meaning you've quit? But you look pretty strong. My friend got hurt during our last mission. The whole thing was a mess. Your friend, is he? Seriously injured, but he's on the mend now. None of this would have happened if I hadn't screwed up, though. That's why I called it quits. Only an amateur would make the mistakes I did. I know you feel bad, but wallowing isn't going to help. Why don't you try getting some exercise? That ought to take your mind off things. Fine. Bring me the items on this note. It may not help, but it's worth a shot. Oh, well, that took a fucking turn, but sure. What do you need? Puny lever of 300 quality and a giant punable of 150 quality. Hey, if we do that, we'll have it. If we do that, we'll have the punable one, and puny lever we can just make. Alright, let's get on our trusty steed and get over to those gold punies. And then we'll actually advance the plot. I promise. How many things have I got to look out for? 2. Oh, never mind. It's those specific punies it wants. Never mind. I was going to say, oh, I'll just go get these. Never mind. Alright, let's just continue the plot then. We'll get that later. Also, we kind of already went into this building. Oops. I'm not surprised not everyone's inside it. It's a small building for all, 11 of us. And then you decided to come all the way here. I see. Yes, it's the Royal Research Institute that fenced off this place. That was a long, long time ago now. My grandfather was just a boy then. It's been that long? What was the Research Institute doing here, though? There are ruins on the mountains that flank this settlement. I heard they were here to investigate them. The entrance has been closed for ages, but the ruins on the taller mountain are pretty intact. They searched for years and years for the key to get into the ruins of the smaller mountain. Also, slight sidetrack. I hope that because we're in the area of the second game, even if we're not exactly in the city, it means that we're going to have a ruin to explore. But I don't care if it's not a mechanic in this game. Let me explore a ruin, because that was my favourite thing in Ryza 2. with the ruin expeditions. It was so like cathartic to clear everything out and find all the secrets and then get all these lore pieces for it that actually explained all the Frozen Moon Queen stuff or the Moon Witch stuff. Moon Queen's Knights of Azure. I keep getting muddled. For years and years, the kid gets the ruins of smaller mountains, but they never found it, so they eventually went back to the palace, the poor fellows. And it would be a good opportunity, with this game's context, to have a ruins to help deep dive into some lore pieces about the Age of God. Since like it feels like it's still the kingdom of the previous era that we know the least about, other than like they all left and they left this computer program behind that acted as a god, and that is the code of the universe. They never found it, so they eventually went back to the palace, the poor fellows. But they just left the fence up. How come this village isn't on any map? I'm told the Research Institute has changed a lot. Now, they deal mostly with ancient alchemical texts. Maybe it's been so long that no one even remembers this place, or why it was wiped from the map. Then they came all this way just to forget about it? Oh, you can't be serious. You've got it all wrong. If word gets out about the ruins here, ruins, that the Research Institute have been poking around in, it might cause trouble. Our village is quiet and peaceful. You don't want to attract unwanted visitors. You don't mean us, do you? We're definitely not here to cause any trouble. I know, don't worry. By the way, Miss Ryza, you are an alchemist, aren't you? This village was once helped by an alchemist a long, long time ago. Really? An alchemist? And Boss already kind of knows. This is how Boss turned his head away. I think he already fucking knows it's going. Alchemist from a long time ago? Oh, this is probably someone who caused trouble then. That was back in my grandfather's day as well. So we welcomed all alchemists here. Now go on and look around to your heart's content. Thank you. I just have one little favour to ask of you. We'd like to set up a base of operations here. Is there any vacant land we can use? There's plenty just outside the village. Sell them wherever you like. Wonderful. Thank you. I guess we'll be on our way then. I mean, the only request I have, well, like, when it comes to, like, DLC stuff in, like, future games, is that it's weird that it's still now in Ryza 3, they still don't have voice acting for the DLC content. Like, I get that, like, the voice acting's probably done well in advance, and the DLC starts development way later and all the rest. But it's still a bit, like... It's weird that, like, every single, like, proper DLC story in every single Atelier game we've played doesn't have voice acting. Like, it's just an odd thing I've started to become more acutely aware of. It's just an odd thing they don't do. I say that it was probably most apparent in Ryza 1 because that game had so many DLCs. So you spent so much time in the DLCs, so you couldn't help but notice there was no voice acting. What am I feeling? I still need to get the all SP trophy, so I'll just go for SP gain. I'm also super curious, like, whenever the next saga comes along, what they're going to do with alchemy. Like, whether they're going to keep this system from Ryza, or whether they're going to reinvent the wheel again. Because from what I can tell, in most sagas, they change the approach of how you do alchemy. Like, the whole Tetris thing was only really mysterious. The, like, this whole, like, almost workshop-esque alchemy link-up is, or chemistry program link-up is this. Ireland, it's all about percentages, you just chuck the things in. I don't know about Dusk. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm curious to see, like, if there's another saga, what they do to kind of mess with it, or whether they just take a previous formula and update it. Oh, Carla, I can't remember my Carla voice. Such a fine base in such a short amount of time. Ryza, you never cease to amaze me. I had to build so many over such a short period. You can say I'm an expert by now. Yeah, she's built 6. If you count the DLCs as well, she's built 6. Anywho, it looks like we can finally get started on exploring those ruins. Yep, let's start where the Research Institute was working before. But firstly, I need to upgrade the gaff. I think what does help though, like, regardless of whether like you like or dislike the combat of this game and how it's handled it, I think the fact that it works the way it is makes it far easier for me to just get back into the rhythm of it. Because despite the fact, you know, it's been like another month or so since I last played this game, I did like, you know, one fight and I was already like, yeah, I remember what we're doing. Like, I know the rhythm of this, and we were fine. Whilst if it was like a more, like an actual turn-based RPG, if you haven't played it for a while and then you jump back in, you kind of get like hit with a brick wall of like having to kind of remind yourself how it all fucking works, you know? And like what systems and mechanics you need to pay attention to. I guess the easy way to say it is because this game's simpler as a whole, it's easier for me to adjust back to when I fire it up. I can just kind of be like, oh yes, we do this and this. So it's a complete mess? Oh, I don't agree with that. I really don't. It's different, and there's always going to be... Mechanically, maybe. Mechanically, maybe you have an argument, but as a whole, definitely not. I love the Secret Saga for what it is. Well, I've never shied away from saying that. There's definitely problems in it, some more than others, and I still think the peak of the trilogy is Ryza 2. But as a whole, I'd be lying to myself if I didn't really fucking like it. I still really love it for what it is. Alright, story's actually pretty good. Oh, right. I was like, mechanically I can see the argument, because ultimately, and we've been saying this since like the first one, it feels experimental. It feels like they're figuring things out, and the fact that there's such a huge change of the formula while still being similar between Ryza 1 and 2, and then Ryza 3 stacks on a bunch of interesting but ultimately superfluous mechanics on top of everything, kind of ends up kind of showing the point where it's like there are things that they want to improve on and work on, but they're still trying to figure out where and how. Mysterious secrets like apples and oranges. Well, there are. As a whole, the Mysterious Saga is the strongest saga in my opinion, at least in what I've played so far. Maybe I'll change my tune when I play Dusk, but still. But there are aspects of Ireland I prefer over Mysterious, and there are aspects of Secret I prefer over Mysterious. It's just as a collective package, if I had to pick which one I like in its entirety, it'd probably be Mysterious. I'd probably be like even more appraising of Mysterious if it wasn't for the fact it's got like one black sheep of the family, that being Ferris. Like the fact that I have such a high opinion of Mysterious, and like that opinion doesn't even have to count Sophie 2, it's just off Sophie 1 and Lily and Sully, it says something. You know? Anyway, went over there. What's happened? Everything survives the experimental phase. Yeah, I think that's why I'm so curious about whatever comes next. Whether it's the next saga, or Secret 4, or what. I'm curious to see what it learns, because Sophie 2 was a very loud indicator that they had learned some things, and then found a new way to apply them. And I wasn't expecting Ryza 3 to, you know, use that same formula. What the fuck's going on with all these animals? To use the same formula, because obviously, like, the Secret Saga as a whole is very enrooted in its more ATB, somewhere in between ATB and action RPG. So obviously they weren't going to change that. Yeah, fuck the pets. Fuck the pets, I don't know what's going on here. So obviously they weren't going to change that. But I am more curious, like, to see what they learned from this one as well, and apply it into other stuff. If they've already learned so much... Oh, Jesus. If they've already learned so much to apply, that they applied in Sophie 2. So I'm trying to, like, pay attention to this little creature as well as I run. Spell, but overall I still consider it inferior to COD. Yeah. Oh, you're leading me to this Yggdrasil. Oh, it interrupted me. Jesus. Oh, I was like, where's the music? It's playing. I was like, oh no, it's playing the final boss theme of I think, oh, is it Perfection 1 or 2 this one's from? I think it's BR1. It's BR1, I think, because it had the quiet start. Whilst BR2 is a bit more aggressive. And I was like, I forgot it had a really slow start, so I was like, where's the music? And then I was like, I had to stop and listen, I could hear it. One thing to note, when you play Crossbell, you'll feel a bit disappointed with the arts and crafts system in Cold Steel because they streamlined it. Oh, fair enough. But streamlining it doesn't immediately make me dislike it. If the streamline makes sense, like, because there is such a thing as making things overly complicated, even coming from like a JRPG head or a turn-based RPG head, customization options and intricacies. But it's very case dependent, obviously. Some games, it's like when they simplify it, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. But you know, whilst in some games, you kind of go, oh. Oh, I can't wait to... I have no idea when I'm going to cover my revisit for Blue Reflection 1, but I really want to revisit Blue Reflection 1. And I already know if I do a revisit of Blue Reflection 1, it will absolutely lead into me doing a revisit of 2 as well. Ow. Yeah, this is BR1's final boss theme. Because when it goes into the main leitmotif of the series, it does it a lot more subtly than BR2 does. BR2 fucking slam dunks the leitmotif into the final boss theme when it shows up. And I think that's one of the coolest things I like with Blue Reflection. That although like other Gust sagas have it, obviously, it's not as pronounced as it is in Blue Reflection. And that's the fact that the main theme, or the main melody of the main theme, is present in so much of the soundtrack in both games. It's such a constant leitmotif. It's always like there to almost like accompany you. And it's like I've heard a couple tracks from the mobile game as well, and it's the same there. A lot of intricacy of the arts and crafts system, but I agree with Cold Steel's treatment of it. Because ultimately, super intricate design is a hurdle for casuals. Yeah. And that's usually why they do it, is to try and make it more approachable. In an ideal world, though, when you are simplifying things, and I know it's an extremely, extremely difficult thing to just do, but in an ideal world, you would lower the skill floor whilst maintaining the ceiling. And that's the problem. It's like, more often than not, when you lower the skill floor, when you lower the entry level, you end up compromising the skill ceiling a little bit. Like, it's hard to make it more approachable while still keeping it and keeping the complexity for the people who have mastered it. I mean, heck, we're literally playing a good example of it. This game's, the Ryza trilogy skill floor is way lower than it has been in other Atelier games, but as a result, the skill ceiling is also lower. There's only so much it can do. Obviously, in some areas, it's easier than others, but as a whole, it is pretty damn tough to do properly. Fencing of a house. That's more stable. Yeah, true. And I mean, to be fair, like, I get the idea of lowering the skill, like, of making it more approachable and making it more accessible. Because I mean, like, once again, to use the thing that we're playing, this has been the most successful saga of the Atelier franchise, and it's not even fucking close. You know? Like, before this, I think, like, before the Ryza games, I think the most successful Atelier game, I think at most sold 150,000 units. And that was, like, absolute most successful one. The entire Ryza trilogy has 2 million units under its belt, for fuck's sake. You know, like, it's clearly... clearly it's done that. Obviously, since Ryza 1, every Atelier game's done better. Like, Sophie 2 did pretty well, Lulua apparently did pretty well, etc. Nelka even did okay. Not brilliantly, but okay. Because it was a spin-off, so of course it did less in sales, but still. So, like, it clearly paid off. But it's also kind of why I'm kind of curious to see what they do in the next saga, because now they have this new audience in, and the games are selling by the bucket ton. Now you've got them, you know? So if you want to then start expanding on things again, it's like, well, now they're here, so you can start doing that. And I think the fact that Sophie 2 apparently sold very well. I don't know exactly how many units it sold, but apparently it did very well. That, like, clearly they can do it, because that one's a lot, you know, Sophie 2 is way more technical. In fact, I'd not even argue it's probably more technical than some of the actual other mainline Mysterious games, because of the whole system of having 6 party members to worry about at once. So it isn't sales. Yeah, it's like the same with anything. If it's a spin-off, regardless of what it is, the nature of spin-off is that it always ends up having less sales. It's very, very fucking rare that a spin-off will, like, do insanely well. The only real good example of it actually doing very well is Persona, because Persona's a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. Yeah, Persona out-fucking-sells Shin Megami Tensei nowadays. Forgio had pretty good sales. Did it? I've never actually looked into it, to be fair. The only, like, Neptunia game that I vaguely pay attention to the sales to, and keep in mind, I entered the Neptunia scene in, like, 2018, so I was way late to it, was, apparently V2 did pretty damn well at the time when it came out. The Devil May Cry is less spin-off, though. The nature of its development is complicated. It's not that it's a direct intentional spin-off, it's that it was just going to be Resident Evil 4, and it was considered too different, so they changed the name. So, like, in one technicality, it kind of is a spin-off, but in another one, it technically isn't. Like, it's weird, but it is, but it isn't. It's a popular net game that came after V2. And also, to be fair, although Devil May Cry is insanely successful, it doesn't bring the buck that Resident Evil does. Resident Evil 5 alone, back in 2008, did 13 million units. The entire Devil May Cry franchise combined doesn't make that number, in terms of sales. Everyone's so jazzed, people's like, oh, that makes sense, though. If everyone's super hyped for it, you're gonna get the next thing regardless of what it is. We're not mad, it left people feel... and listless and all disappointed. Because I've said it before, like, I didn't hate Forgio, I just found no reason to go back to it after I was done. I just found it very, like, whatever, you know? The only thing I genuinely really had a problem with is that fucking, go make your dinner while you wait load screen the game starts with. Because I don't care if it was their first time messing with the engine. You can't convince me that there was genuinely no way to shrink down that load. You know? You can't convince me there was no way they could at least brought down that load screen just a smidge. I think that was the thing. I was just indifferent to 4GO in a lot of ways. And in some aspects that's worse, because then you just don't think about it at all. Like, it just kind of exists, and then you go, oh, or whatever. But that was the biggest thing. Like, I didn't care for the story, but I didn't hate it. There was nothing that outright annoyed me. I just didn't fucking care about it. The graphics are stunning, but that's, like, not enough to carry it over. The gameplay's fun at first, and then you realise how, like, busted it is, and it kind of... In some aspects, it becomes more enjoyable because of how broken it is, but in other aspects, it becomes more boring because you realise how broken it is. And I honestly can't remember a single track. Like, the music doesn't stick out to me at all. Yeah, and by the time I got into 4GO, I couldn't find anyone online, so I just kind of didn't care to, like, bother with that. Fun with your friend. Yeah, because literally, the worst game in the world can be made more fun if you play with your friends, so that's not an argument. As far as I'm concerned. Anytime people are like, oh, it's so much better if you have someone to play it with, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's not actually a defense, at least in my opinion. Trade ones that had it. Oh, fair enough. It was like when Destiny first came out, and I genuinely, like, felt so gutted, because I just didn't enjoy that game at all. I mean, I was like, oh, it's so much better with your friends. And I'm like, yeah, but the core experience fucking sucks. So I don't think that's a defense. Every game's better if you play it with your friends, because even if the game's shit, you'll dunk on it together and have fun out of that, you know? You know, like... People going, oh, Resident Evil 5 is a 7 out of 10, but if you play it with friends, it becomes a 9 out of 10. You go, no, so it's a 7. It's a 7 out of 10. Come on. Obviously, there are some games that are co-op only and co-op intended, and so if you try and play it single player, you're compromising the entire fucking point of the game, and I can understand the argument then. Like, if you play It Takes Two, and you, like, don't actually have a good co-op buddy to play it with, obviously you're not going to get any enjoyment on it, because the entire game's premise and structure is built around doing it with a buddy. If you don't have that buddy, the entire premise of the game collapses. But 4GO is a fully functional game that has a co-op extra to it, and that co-op extra is not enough to save what is ultimately just a mediocre product. Among us, yeah, or like if it holds like for like multiplayer games, if it's a game that's built solely around its multiplayer, then obviously you're not going to enjoy it if you have less people or don't have your friends around. But you know what I mean? If you make a full adventure that can be played in single player, like from start to finish, that has set levels, bosses, story beats, all the rest, and it's not fun, co-op won't suddenly save that. Because the fun of co-op is the bouncing off your friend. No, I'm joking. The fun is with the bounce off you have with your friend, not the game. And trust me, when I get to Resident Evil 6 in August, there will be a fucking lot to talk about, because that game is problematic. But that game also has that same thing. The game, when not playing in co-op, is god fucking awful. It really is a mess. It has some crazy, exciting moments, don't get me wrong, but as a whole, the collective game is kind of weak. But when played in co-op, it's one of the most bombastically stupid, yet kind of fun Resident Evil experiences in the series. But the game itself is horrendously flawed. It's just because it's so ridiculous that when you play it with your friend, you're too busy going, what? With your buddy, that it becomes kind of fun because you're taking the piss out of it. God, I'm both am and not looking forward to 6, because there's a lot I'll probably end up having to say about 6 when we get to it. I don't hate 6 the way some people do, but I certainly have a lot of problems with it. If it's anything like how I remember it being when I first played it a decade ago. Anyway, we've been staring at Carla for long enough. I can sense the flow of energy. It's faint, but it's there. It's almost like magic. The flowing from just ahead to the mountain over there. This must have been where the Institute worked. Also, this is I'm aware, a very tiny gripe, and they've already made an effort to address it a little bit, because the background on the subtitles was more transparent when the game first launched, whilst now it's a bit more fixed, so you can actually read the words easier. But in the next Atelier game, can they make the text a smidge easier to read? Whether they make it a bit bigger, or whether they make the background less transparent. I mean, they've already made it slightly less transparent, but you know what I mean, in general. Because I feel like I stumble reading the text in this game more than I do most others, just because the text is smaller and a little harder to read at times. You know? Am I the only one? I mean, stare at Carla more. Maybe it's just a bit of dyslexia kicking in, but it's just... I get they're trying to be minimalistic with it, but if they could just make the subtitles either a bit bigger or a bit bolder, that would be nice, thanks. Because it feels like they've got smaller and more, like, reduced per game throughout the Secret Saga. It's flowing from just up ahead in the mountain over there. This must have been where the Institute worked. I need more Carla in my life, eh? Carla, Lilla, what would we do without you two? I knew it. These runes from the same period that we studied last year. Oh, so these are from the... Are we going to learn more about the Frozen Moon Witch? That would be cool, because like that was like my favourite of like the 3 lore pieces of the trilogy. The Clink Kingdom are like, yeah, whatever, they're alchemists that are cunts. Like, the Age of God are like... The Age of God. But the Frozen Moon Witch, like... There was so much with that. And like I said, also, there's still that theory that, like, Frederica's an ancestor to the Frozen Moon Witch, which really tracks. They're barely on. So they're quite ancient? Oh, that's not that's Carla. What happened to your voice? It's because the camera put Empel square in the middle. I thought it was Empel. I thought it was Empel talking. I didn't even read the subtitle name. Whoops. They need the fucking thing from Danganronpa 1 and 2 where you get like an artwork portrait like appear next to the name so you know who's talking at all times. So they're quite ancient. Yep, they date back to a time between the Age of God and the Clint Kingdom, I'd say. So yeah, it is Frozen Moon Witch. Anyway, with it. Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like the first DLC, I was hoping would go into the Age of God a bit more, and instead went into the nature of the keys more, because we basically found the key-making factory. And then this DLC, I was like, well, it's going back to the second game's area, so it probably won't talk about the Age of God that much, but here's hoping. No, we're going back into my favourite lore piece, because I love the Frozen Moon Witch. I love the fact that it was this being who tried to find a secret of immortality to save her village, found it for herself, and ended up bringing the ruin of her village, ironically, and then eventually cast it aside hundreds of years later after, you know, building all of the ruins to try and help build her city. And, like, try and save her people. All those ruins are literally, like, the remnants of her city. And eventually, like, force that immortality out of her. Even if it ended up being, like, the last thing that, like, held any history of her past behind. It's like it's close to... I mean, it kind of is. The difference is, in Knights of Azure 2, the Frozen Moon Queen, who, to be fair, actually also is immortal, was outcast by society. She didn't ruin the town, everyone attacked her. And so her and her wife weren't allowed to live normal lives, and eventually her wife was forced to kill her. Well, slash her heart, because obviously she's immortal. And then that wife, genuinely believing she had killed her lover, killed herself, just for then the immortal Moon Queen to rise up and realise what had happened, which is what led her down her path. Like Jesus Christ! Every time I go back to Knights of think about Knights of Azure 2, I'm like, this is the same writers as the the Atelier games. It's like, man, imagine we got a story like that in an Atelier game. I also like that both the Knights of Azure games don't shy away from Yuri romance, and not as in like the cutesy romance sort of thing. It's the fact that Arnis is canonically married. It's the fact that, you know, Malvasia is canonically married. Like, they're both married to women. You know? I ship Arnis with Sophie. No, Arnis is married. Arnis is married with, Lilise. And Malvasia is married with Alstramaria. Like Knights of Azure doesn't shy away from it at fucking all. The first game kind of toys around with it a little bit, but from what I can tell, that was more of a localization thing than a translation thing. Like in Japan, they're a lot more blunt about it, whilst in Knights of Azure 2, it's a core talking point that the reason why Arnis went insane is because she genuinely believed her wife had been killed, and it drove her off the deep end. And it's only when she finds her wedding ring, or when Arnis... Arlush, sorry, I have to remember which character. Arlush finds the wedding ring that Lilise wore in the city, that Arnis realizes that Lilise must have lived for her to have been to the city. Which is the cliffhanger that they leave that might start in Knights of Azure 3, that Arnis' wife is still out there somewhere. Just, let me freaking have this. Polygamy is a thing. Yeah, true. True. You've sealed off places like a dragon's passage with large ruins. Truly a feat of strength. What an extraordinary people they were. But why did the Institute conduct such a massive investigation on the site of this period? And then obviously, like, it's kind of annoying in one aspect when you think about it, that, like, every single Gust franchise, except Atelier, are the ones that, like, completely commit to, like, their Yui love stories. You know, Knights of Azure has married couples, and Blue Reflection Second Light has an entire story arc around Reina and Yuki, and it's like, let's look at the Atelier series. Hey, Ryza and Claudia, how are you doing? We're going our separate ways. Yeah. We're going our separate ways because Claudia wants to find a cure for her mother and Ryza wants to spread her wings as an adult. And that's the story arc they're going with. Fuck. Maybe next time. It's like fucking Captain Price. Mission failed. We'll get them next time. To answer that question, we must first find a way to go further.
Oi.
I am still adamant. There will be a secret 4. And if something's going to happen between them, it'll happen there. Because it's not like they're completely shying away from it. I know like people can argue about like the nature of interpretation versus showing, but they did some very fucking blatant imagery between Sophie and Plachta and Liddy and Sully. Really fucking blatant imagery. We're having them like be dressed in all white and like the shining light behind them. The fact that they visit a church at one point. Like they do a lot of wedding imagery between the two. I mean they like, do the whole like promise to stick by each other for all eternity. It's like these two are a couple. They just didn't outright say it, you know? Right. Yeah, the whole Ryza trilogy plot feels like I'ma spread my wings. The problem is that I felt like after Ryza 1, they already kind of had it. I suppose it could be argued that Ryza 1 ended with Ryza committing to staying at home, whilst Ryza 3 ends with her committing to actually go explore the world on her own. So, like, Ryza 1, it was she wanted to spread her wings, but ended up staying, whilst in Ryza 3, it's her discovering the need to do so and actually doing it, like, actually committing to it. Like, now, like, because keep in mind, like, 4-year gap between Ryza 1 and 3. That bit older, she's a bit more wiser, a bit more mature, a bit more understanding of the world. She's not a dumb kid anymore, so she goes and actually spreads her wings properly. Alright, now we can go in. Ryza! Wait, something's coming! Need to be alone. Yeah, that's a debate. Like, in my opinion, I get where the writers were going for, and I understand why they went for it. Because I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. They really, really wanted this to be the last chapter for Ryza and no one else. They wanted everyone else's story to kind of continue one way or another, just Ryza's was the one that ended. So I guess that was their reasoning for having her spread her wings alone. But at the same time, I said I get why Ryza didn't go with Claudia. I entirely get that. Because she wouldn't be spreading her wings if she went with Claudia. Like, following that logic, she wouldn't be. Because Claudia's entire premise and goal at that point was to, other than handle the business, was desperately find a cure for her mother. And although Ryza could have helped with that, Ryza would have spent the entire time effectively in Claudia's shadow, which is not what she wanted. And you could argue that was selfish of Ryza, but because, everyone else kind of sticks with Ryza when she goes on her wild schemes. At the moment it's the other way around, she goes her own way. But that's also Ryza. Ryza's very much marches to the sound of her own heartbeat. I think, personally, they'll go their separate ways for now, but if a Secret 4 ever happens, they'll find a cure, and then we can reevaluate the topic. And I genuinely believe that. I don't think Gust are going to leave that unfulfilled, personally. Personally, anyway. I don't think they're going to leave that unfulfilled. I think there's too many loose threads and too many things that need to be touched upon that they will touch upon it. So metatextual, they explored it into hang on, the 2 whole games. The emote button was in the way, so I had to scroll it down. I know, it's awkward. I think that's the problem. It's awkward. I get the entire premise of the trilogy, and I don't think Ryza 3 is pointless like some people think. I think Ryza 3, as its end piece and how it handles it, is fine. It wraps up Ryza's story. My problem is that it only wraps up Ryza's story because they're setting up a 4th game. Mysterious as well. Yeah, the difference is that Mysterious's loose threads don't need to be answered. You can do the whole Mysterious saga, and anything that hasn't been answered, you can just go, alright, I can probably figure out what that happened, or I can probably see where this went, or whatever. The Ryza trilogy, there are things with block ends. Stuff that they've set up that don't have an answer yet. Boss and Kilo are... Boss proposed to her, but Kilo is, is staying in the underworld until shit's fixed. That's arguably a loose thread. You could probably see how that's going, so maybe that one could be argued as similar to Mysterious, where, Mysterious, you kind of know where things are going to an extent. Or redundant. Because even that I don't really agree with personally, but that's just me. I still like Ryza 3. I have problems with it, but as a whole, I liked it for what it is. My problem is that it's not a finale, it's a middle piece. And so it does feel like it's more just there to serve getting things moving in certain ways than it is to actually be its own story. The only finale it's for is for Ryza. Everyone else is just a middle piece of the puzzle. But it's like, Patricia is literally landlocked to the city until Tal finishes his studies. So that's a loose thread because, fuck, that's a lot to put on Patricia, and Tal's studies could go on for a very long time. It's not a he'll be done when he's 18 kind of deal. Whole game for it, one of those be an extra chapter. Chapters. I don't have an answer for that one. There might have been things in development that led to them wanting to do this. I mean, obviously, the biggest one is that they wanted to experiment with open zones, and doing a new Ryza game was the biggest opportunity to do that. And although there are some things they really need to rework, like fucking the currency system is a mess in this game, but I don't think anyone can argue against that. The currency system is a gargantuan fucking mess in this game. There are a lot of attributes to this that I thought really worked, and I really enjoyed, and I want to see them expand on it in future ones. But this experiment needed to happen for them to figure out what needs to be worked on in future titles if they plan to do these sort of games again. For very superficial reasons, maybe. But like, and obviously like with Claudia, she still hasn't found the cure, so then that's been a thread since Ryza 1 that her mum's sick. Well, I said, in Ryza 1, it was implied she was sick, but we weren't told because Claudia didn't want to bring it up. It was in Ryza 2 that we properly learned she was sick, and in Ryza 3 that Claudia was actively seeking a cure, but didn't know where to begin looking. So that's been like a very slow stepping stone of learning more about Claudia. Lent's mother hasn't been found, and like Lent's dad's out looking for her, so that's a loose thread. Maybe they'll find them, so maybe that could be argued as like another mysterious-esque sort of thread in the same way, like you already know where the answer's going, but that still feels like a loose thread. You know what I mean? Like there's the loose threads in this compared to at least what I've played in like other Gust games, whether it's Blue Reflection or Knights of Azure or just previous Atelier sagas. They still feel more final compared to Secret Saga so far. But the thing is that they already tried that. Remember that the whole of Claudia's story arc, like in her side story with this, was having Ryza experiment with cures and whatnot. But then Claudia getting a better understanding of medicine to know that that's not what she's looking for. The problem is that the thing that makes Claudia's mother ill is unknown. So there might be a cure out there. There might not be a cure. It might have a tragic end and there just isn't a way to save her. But whatever illness has got Claudia's mother in a strong grasp, there's no known cure, at least to Claudia, which is why she's doing her search, in the hopes that she can find something that might lead her to the answer. And maybe when she finds that answer, then she'll go to Ryza and be like, hey, make this. Secret Mysterious. Nah, you already know that's not going to happen. Unless it's like a sly reference, because it has happened a couple times, where we've got like a sly little nod or reference to another saga. Or at least I've noticed it more now I've played more of them, that every now and then there's like a little nod or a little wink to another saga. But you already know that's not going to happen. I've said it many a times before, and it bears repeating. Secret 4 will be a new protagonist, and it will probably just be like some Ryza student, and we'll get like a Sophie Ferris / Rorona Totori situation. My hope, though, is that it's an Auron that we play as. I think it'd be really cool to play as an Auron. As a lead character. Taste? They look pretty strong. Yeah, but don't worry, we're stronger. Well, I hope so. You got that right. We fought plenty of strong enemies before. No way this could beat us. Same quality as Maruru. In, what aspect? Just... Oh, this thing's only level 85. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say, do I need to actually be ready for this fight? It's almost like this is the free DLC, so they expect you to go straight to it after the main game, so everything's a bit easier. Whilst the paid DLC is the one they know you'll probably do way later, so it's harder. Yeah, this thing's already half dead. I'm waiting for everyone to shut up so we can listen to the music. Dang, all the build up for the chump change. Is this the I'm waiting for the lyrics to kick in so I can recognize it. I think this is Mana Kamiya 1. It's Stigmata, the final boss theme. Yes, it's Stigmata, I think. Because I still want to buy Mana Kamiya, but now I know that Gus CEO really wants every single Atelier game from every single saga on modern storefronts, like PS4, PS5, Switch, yada yada. I'm like, do I wait? You know, like, do I wait for like a potential re-release or remaster later down the road? Or do I just like bite the bullet and buy a PS2 copy? Because it'll probably be a little dearer expense-wise. Right. I've said it before, Platinum Verona, in grand scheme, it's not too bad. Outside of fighting the super bosses and making sure you have 2 world spirits, which is like the evilest fucking thing, the Platinum's not too bad because you can pick what ending you have. So as long as you get the Astrid ending, which requires you to get every single other ending, you can just scroll down the list. You just save before your ending, and then you can just pick your ending. So that'd actually be pretty, like, manageable. You'd have to watch the credits like 10 times, but that's, you know, better than having to do 10 whole playthroughs. The reason why I'm letting this track continue playing is because the guitar riff that we get about halfway through it is very slow and has like a strong like power build to it. Like it's not it's slower than that, and I like highlighting it. I like highlighting it because you don't get it in anything really. Like actual like much slower riffs in like anime-esque games. So usually if they're gonna have a riff, they just go all in. But a 12th assignment. Oh, fair enough. This bit. Ugh. There's another riff as well at the end of the track, but I'm not going to keep you guys waiting forever. That can be something you can find out for yourselves. Yeah, I think that was the last of them. But then Mana Kamiya's soundtrack as a whole is kind of goated. Because given it's the same game as Nefertiti, one of like the craziest fucking tracks in the franchise. I think that was the last of them. Seems that way, but who knows what's lurking inside. Let's proceed with caution. And the thing is, like, the 12th assignment for Verona to get back on that, it isn't too bad as long as you have over the star threshold. Like, if you max out every single star, you don't need to get, like, all 10 on the last bar. You can get, like, I think it's 6 or above and still be good for the true ending requirement. Which will then lead into, like, the Astrid requirement. And obviously in New Game Plus, it'll be way easier because you'll have more levels and experience and more alchemy things made and more areas, like, to be, like, for you to be able to more easily explore without, like, enemies being too strong for you. That you can just get those better resources to make that better thing to get a higher star grade on it. The real hassle is maxing out every friendship, making a pie of 80 quality or higher, and then having, I forgot what the money requirement is. Let's go with my level, something at level 1. But even starting at level is not too bad, because even then, like, even if it was starting from a fresh new game afterwards, you have experience. You have experience with the game. You have a better understanding of its fundamentals. So by nature, it'd be a smidge easier for you to know what to prioritize, giving you more time to eventually work on other things. It's like you can finish assignment 1 and already start working on assignment 2 before it's ready, and then maybe you can have that entirely done and already be working on assignment 3. And since you could end up making yourself so far ahead on it, the only exception being, I think it's assignment 10, where you have to go fight a specific enemy. It's either fight a specific enemy or resource from a specific dungeon that's only available when you access that assignment. That you would be able to then, like, you know, give yourself more time to piece together what you want to do for 12. Seems to be the source of the energy. It also, to jump the gun a little bit, I'm aware of this, Loloa works off the exact same logic with its ending. As long as you reach the ending requirement, the game lets you pick what ending you have when you get to the end of it. So Loloa, especially considering Loloa doesn't have a time limit because it came out after the entire Mysterious trilogy and came out the same, like, around the same time as Ryza 1, will actually be a lot easier of a platinum when I get to it, because I can just, like, knuckle down once I've done, like, all the main story in making sure I fulfill everything for the true ending, and then save before it, and, like, you know, just then tick off all the endings. I looked at the trophy list in advance, and there's no even, like gotcha trophies, you know? Like, there's no, like, beat the final boss on this super hard difficulty like Sophie 2, or get yourself the base big bitch normal ending that you can only get if you fail everything, like in Lydian Suli. You can just get all the trophies in the lore, from what I can tell. I'm looking forward to the Marie remake, I really am. I kind of doubt it because it's a, you know, deluxe edition bonus and not like its own release. But I'm also curious if Marie Plus will have its own trophy list compared to Marie Remake, or whether it will just be a thing. So I spent my comments about it. I'm not going to play the remake with a time limit. I'm assuming that's what you meant by W/A with, or maybe. I mean, it feels like I have no complaint for the time, because it's a fucking option. If you want the time limit and want the experience, have it. If you don't, don't. You're correct, awesome. But I think playing without the time limit will make the platinum way easier, because you can just knuckle down on what you need to work on. But I won't be playing with a time limit because I want to just experience everything. I want to go explore every single dungeon. I want to go see what little quests and events I can trigger here, there, and everywhere. You know, I want to, like, fully embrace everything about Atelier Marie. Sorry, I cut the tip of my toe yesterday, like, trimming my nails. I mean, like, actually cut it, and it's like, it's just started stinging a little bit. And I'm like, what, why? I'm like, why? So it just distracted me for a second. Go back to Reverie quicker. Yeah, fair enough. And you can also, like, just come back to it later in your own time and do, like, a challenge run and put the time limit on, sort of thing. And maybe, like, put the difficulty on, like, hard or whatever. So, like, the option's there for you to come back to it and do, like, your more, like, quote-unquote, like, traditional run, per se. This seems to be the source of the energy. It used to flow in the ruins from here. I still think Atelier Ryza had the best option for it. The fact that Ryza had, I think it was 4 or 5 difficulty options surrounding the time limit. You had, like, a traditional mode where the time limit was kind of strict, a forgiving mode where there was still a time limit but it was a little looser, a limitless mode without the time limit, and then you had, like, a mode where it's also skipped cutscenes, but would automatically go straight into New Game Plus, so it's easier for ending grinding. Like, instead of asking you to go to New Game Plus, sort of thing. Like, they had a really cool idea with Fire Rate back in 2001 or 2, whenever that game came out. Like, Marie Remake will obviously come with a trophy list. It's just whether Marie Plus does, and so I kind of doubt it, just because it's like a deluxe edition bonus and not like its own release. Or if it does, it might not even have a platinum. You know, like, it might only be like 4 trophies, like beat the game normal, beat the game true ending, sort of thing. It might not have a comprehensive list, especially because, you know, the original Atelier Marie from 97 is going to have far less content. It seems to be the source of the energy. It's like it used to flow in the ruins from here. May happen. Maybe. Oh, voice crack. Speaking of platinums, yeah, me doing the Doom games, I've learned that, like, literally none of them are getting platinumed, outside of Doom 2016, because I already platinumed it when it came out. Like, all the rest, it's like, Doom Original, beat the game on the hardest difficulty in co-op, and I'm like, it's local co-op. I either need to get someone or to share play, but in the hardest difficulty, enemies infinitely respawn. And you die in 2 hits, that's not fun, no. Same in Doom 2, okay, get fucked. Doom 64 doesn't have a platinum, because there's not enough trophies. Great! Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, multiplayer trophies. Fuck! The Dragoon has a platinum. Difference is Legend of Dragoon got a proper re-release. It's like, it's got its own thing that you can buy from the store. Marie Plus isn't that. Marie Plus is a bonus with the main game if you buy a certain edition of it. That's what I mean by, like, I'm not sure. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not sure. Like, it's a different, like context in that way. If Plus gets released standalone separately, then yeah. But I don't know if it is. I haven't seen anything that says it is. Yeah, but it's still on the PlayStation Store as its own thing. That's what I mean. Like, Dread of Dragoon's on the PlayStation Store as its own thing. Marie Remake is the Marie Remake. There isn't Marie Plus that we know of. That's going to be released on the PlayStation Store as a separate purchase. That's where my point comes from. It feels like it's just an extra feature that will come with Marie Remake and not a actual separate standalone release. So I might be wrong, it might be getting a separate release. It's just everywhere I look hasn't said it. It just says, hey, if you get the deluxe edition, it comes with this. Store. Yeah, maybe. But I digress. Either way, like, we'll see. If it doesn't have a trophy list, I won't lose sleep over it, but if it does, great. I'll get 2 platinums out of Marie, potentially, depending on how easy or difficult the platinum is in both versions. Because the remake might have, like, some of the meanest trophies ever conceived by man. It might be like, hey, get the true ending in, like, with only, like, a third of the time limit spent. Good luck, bitch. Or, like, some shit. Cheap AF, yeah. Well, keep in mind, the original Atelier Marie was PS1. It was 97. Of the Salberg trilogy, the first 2 games were PS1. The third one was launch PS2. And then the Gramnid games onwards were PS2 up until the end of Manakamiya 2. And then Rorono's when they jumped to PS3. And then technically Mysterious was when they jumped to PS4. But the Mysterious trilogy were built for PS3 first. Or built with PS3 in mind, they just were cross-gen games. Whilst Ryza was the first ones to actually commit to being a PS4 title. Hey, GameFAQs style guys. Really? That's fair enough. I get it. Having to, like being able to follow either like a video guide or more structured guide, what was that? But I grew up with GameFAQs, so I'm so used to just bringing up the wall of text and just reading through it. And like having it like on my phone separately whilst I play a game if I need a guide for something, you know? Like, I'm so used to it. Especially when they would like use like they would use all the different keys to like remake the logo at the top of the page sort of thing, using it. Like you'd see all like these slashes and like half lines and everything, and it would like make the words or like make the shape of the logo. But I was like, people are so creative with this shit. Trashy and nauseous, and that's fair enough. I think for me, it's just what I was used to. It was just what I was used to. When I was a kid, if I got stuck, GameFAQs is what I went to. And left unattended for so long that the energy has nearly run out. I don't think it will reach the ruins anymore. So a limited format. Yeah, true. It'll be hard to make a new crystal. Let's see if there's another way. Nowadays, I'll look up video stuff just because GameFAQs doesn't exist really anymore. But back at the time, it was just a thing I'd go to. If I was stuck in Final Fantasy V, it's where I went. See, it seems that even the ancients didn't believe the power of the crystal would last forever. and say to PSN profiles or PlayStation trophies. Yeah, maybe. It would help. And that came a way to continuously replenish the crystal's core. What did they replenish it with? Good question. Maybe alchemy synthesized objects imbued with special powers. It's the only roadmap guide right now is a game facts. Assuming the object is made very well, it should be its supply power to the crystal. And Ayasha has a roadmap. Oh, awesome. And also Ayasha also came a little later on, I suppose. Ayasha's the first Dusk game. I don't know why I get Ayasha muddled with Shaylee. Like, I always think I'm like, which one's the one that's first, which one's the one that's third? Like, Escher and Logi, I guess because it's just named, the titling of it's different enough that I know it has to be the second one. But Ayasha and Shaylee, I always end up getting them slightly muddled. Like, Ayasha's the first one, Shaylee's the third one, right? I'm not going mad? Interesting. This is your time to shine, Ryza. Very well made object, you say. Oh boy, that's a lot of pressure. Deliver an eternal monolith with quality 500 or more. Oh, we also need to do the puny level for the quest. Yeah, I'll do the eternal monolith first. I'll worry about the side quests in my later on. Oh, I'm glad I had a mystic sphere then. Oh, we got a trait boost this bitch like nobody's business. Or quality boosted, sorry. Oh, we're good. And I guess whilst we're here, itchy eye. The new, like, this is gonna be entirely a me problem. The new, like, headset that I've got on has a much higher audio quality than the old headset I used to have. So it's like, I'm doing all this alchemy, and I've just got Ryza talking in my ear, and it's like, it sounds like perfect quality now, and it's like, I didn't think the quality was bad in my old set until, like, I'm listening to it here, and it's like, I've got, like, and, like, she's in the room with me, her, like, whispering in my ear, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. You know? Like, it's kind of off-putting a little bit. I'm like, hi, Ryza, like, get out of my ear. I want to boost quantity if I can help it, just to make sure that's all sorted, but I don't know if I have a key that boosts quantity. I do, awesome. What was the other thing the guy needed? Puny leather. And giant puny balls of high enough quality. Well, we can turn one of them in. Oh, I can't remember which one of these people was the one that was after it, so we're just going to kind of poke our head around. Medicine with free spirit. You, down here. Oh, so I didn't mean to pick that up right in front of you. Oh, I don't have the punables. Okay, fine. I used the punables So I have to actually go get more, which is fine because we need to go this way anyway. Because this will reward us with giant punables, which we can then do for the other thing. Okay. Fucking Stonehenge of punies over there. So in this area, there's supposed to be really fast punies somewhere. Let me go trigger this. Hill of Silence. And I bet the last one's inside this, and it won't let us in yet. Yeah, no. I can literally see it on the mini-map. It's inside, so we can't get that yet. Alright. Get golden punables. So let's look around this general area for them. Unless they're, like, alongside other enemies. Or if I go fight the raptors, they'll be with it. Oh. I thought I had that equipped. I'll just fight these guys and see if they have gold punies with them. I'm not seeing them anywhere. Jesus, yeah, this area is very different from the other DLC area. The other DLC area they expect you to do last. This one they expect you to do after you beat the game, because it's, you know, the free one. Looks like no gold punies though, so that quest will have to wait. So we get the gold punies, we can turn it in, and in turn get Can I just like check that? Did the game care? Whoops. Which in turn, the reward for it is like high quality giant puny balls. Like, if I go fight these ones and get golden one, will the game be like, yes, you've done it? Or will the game tell me to like go like, yeah, nice try, dickhead? Santa's, yeah. Santa's going to chat, yeah. But it's like these punies and some godsend music starts playing.
そろ鍵をつけてそうだが、私が探すの力を見せてくれ。私たちの勝ちだね。ま、この程度余裕よ。
No, it doesn't count. Fuck. Oh, we had to try.
ここならすぐ。
石は固まるし重たいんだよな。
Yeah, I'm just gonna move on with the plot. That's not the map button, god damn it. Final Fantasy 16 has got me used to the map being on a normal fucking button and not down on the goddamn D-pad. So I keep on pressing the touchpad when it to bring up the map and it doesn't. This brings up this. Let's head over. I need to try and make more of an effort to like push on the plot just because it's already 11 or about to be 11. I'm like, I feel like we haven't done much of the plot. We've just like talked to one person twice and then gone up here. And if I want to get this all done in one stream, I kind of need to get a move on a little bit. If we don't get it all in one stream, whatever, it's just that we'll have to like find another stream to do it in. It's just I don't know when. That's the problem. Nah, it's cool, dude. I'd rather have the chat. That did it. The power is flowing again. Good work, Ryza. Now it all makes sense. No wonder the Institute couldn't make it. What do you mean? I heard they recruited the very best alchemists around. They might have had book learning, but their practical skills left a lot to be desired. Only a handful of them were worth their salt. No way, really? I would have expected. The Research Institute was originally created to find ways to improve the kingdom, not alchemy. Until they started focusing on alchemy, they were just a group of researchers who excelled in their fields. How did that lead to them to study alchemy? I don't know the details, but I'm sure alchemy was a part of the research. Probably started when a skilled alchemist showed up and started making strange medicines and tools that had never existed before. Emil and I were there during the Golden Age, and were the only ones able to recreate the recipes. Judging by the state of this place, it seems Emil was already gone by the time they started working here. You speak so highly of Emil, despite all the terrible things he did to you. Despite everything, I can't deny the fact that he was a skilled alchemist. In fact, that was the reason we became friends in the first place. Head towards the ruins. Also, powering that up might have just opened the door. Well, not many treasure chests. 3, 4, 3? Guilty Spark? Fucking 10 treasures across this whole area? Hey, there's 47 in the city of the last DLC. Whoa! Anyone else get the impression that maybe this isn't it? That there's like more coming? Not coming, as in like there's stuff out, as in like once we've done the outskirts, we'll move to like another area. Because this area is actually kind of short in that grand scheme, like fuck. The real question is though, hang on. Oh, okay, I don't know if the outskirts has one or not. I was gonna say, does the outskirts have another page, but it's grayed out, so maybe it doesn't. But I suppose, once again, this is the free content update, so maybe it just has less content in it than, you know, the one you pay for. But we'll see. Oh, I can just warp there. He wants us over there. Yeah, the door's open now.
ありがとね。
Please be like a proper ruins, like Ryza 2 ruins. That would be great. That would genuinely give this whole game like 1 extra point if it just transforms into Ryza 2 ruin expeditions. You did it, Ryza. We made it in. Alright, let's get the investigation going. Like, this whole game would get a whole brownie point for free if it turns into like Ryza 2's expeditions. Hang on a second, first we need to get permission from the villagers. Permission? What for? This place has been sealed off for decades. We'll make a good impression if we keep them informed of our progress. Besides, we don't end up in trouble, do we? I guess you're right. It'd be courteous. Well, she should be courteous to the locals. And it's like, precisely. Remember what happened last time you just waltzed just in? You got arrested, Empor, Lilla. People used to negotiating with others see issues differently. That settles it. Let's go back to the village.
Yes.
That's not the map button. Fuck me.
荷物持ちくらいなら
I'm gonna do this all stream. Like, press the wrong button for the map. And you know what'll happen? I'll go into FF16 and start pressing down on the D-pad and going, why isn't it bringing up the map? You got the ruins entrance open? Only the Research Institute could do that. If you don't mind, we'd like to take a look around inside. Be my guest, you unlocked it after all. I'll let the villagers know. If it's not too much trouble, we'd like to go around and say hello to them ourselves. They'd like that. Carry on then. Go pester the people up in the village. Yeah. How far up am I? Okay, look, only a little higher. Hi, I'm Ryza. Well, you came all the way to poke around these ruins? That's a first. Place doesn't get many visitors, does it? Only the occasional merchant or explorer. As you can see, there's not much around here. Most visitors only stay overnight. That sounds pretty lonely. On the contrary, the people who live here enjoy a quiet, peaceful life. Outsiders aren't unwelcome, but a community is the perfect size for us as it is. So if you wouldn't mind, don't go telling people about us. We don't need as much as tourists. Of course, we won't even tell our families. Thank you, it's much appreciated. There isn't much, but feel free to have a look around. Sorry. What the fuck? The old lady's like, what the fuck? Why did you do that? Oh my goodness, you opened the entrance to those ruins. That's amazing. Even the Research Institute couldn't do that. Do you know why the Research Institute was investigating those ruins? I'm afraid I don't, but my grandmother once said there were talks... Your grandmother? Jesus, it was a while ago. Talks about the power necessary for the kingdom. It's not very exciting to me as a child, but I still remember it to this day. We're staying this zoomed in. We don't get to see enough of Ryza. Check out those ruins. If you find any treasure, I'd love to see it. Treasure? Has anyone ever found any? I don't think so, but there's an old battlefield around there, right? I think they were fighting over some treasure in the ruins. Apparently some valuable ornaments have been found in the area. Maybe they belong to the people who were fighting. The other day I found a jar with a letter in it, but I can't read what it says. You're an alchemist, aren't you? If you're interested, you can have it. Oh, thank you. I'll have Tal decipher it for us later. I'm sure there's more buried treasure around there, so it might be interesting to have a look. I cried the worst recipe. My mum gave me her cookbook. Everyone was so friendly. No one seemed suspicious or guarded with us. Interesting. People are usually wary once they find out we're alchemists. No one's ever been suspicious of me. Not in the capital, not in Sardonica, not even in Far. It seems this place is mostly unknown to outsiders. Only a few merchants pass through here from the sounds of it. Not even Claudia has heard of it. No, not even a rumour. Hearing that a lot of things are buried around the ruins is pretty intriguing. I'd like to look for old documents. I'm interested in your battlefield. Must be lots of weapons from the Clint Kingdom era there. There's no evidence of Felucia or an invasion though. I wonder who they were fighting. Go on guys, we need to stay focused. Our #1 priority is the ruins. Everything else has come after that. Yeah, he's right. I think Dion has become a voice of reason here. Really? For now, the most important question is, what was the purpose of those ruins? And what was the power necessary for the kingdom the Research Institute was trying to find? If they had to segregate an entire region to search for something, it must be pretty powerful. Time to get ready to head to the ruins and find out. Head off to the ruins.
何か見つかりそうな予感がするな。
Oh, it's a bump. God damn it.
なるほど。見つけた。
Oh, this is looking rather Ryza 2-ish. This is looking rather Ryza 2. Oh. I never expected so many traps. I suppose they were really worried about intruders. Even so, it looks like overkill. Do you really think there would be a gate here? No, judging by the looks of these ruins, there shouldn't be. The ancients built all kinds of contraptions to seal gates closed using fairy stones from the underworld. It's hard to imagine ruins of this size concealing a well-sealed gate. But that doesn't mean there isn't something else hidden here. Keep your eyes open. Oh, it's not that complex. I was hoping it'd be a bit more. It's not that complex. Fuck. I'll pick up a key while we're here. Moon Shadow Key. Ooh! Ooh, look at all those XLs. Mark of Artisan, Symbol of Omnipotence XL, Action Speed XL, Item Enhancement XL. Hold on a cotton bacon minute. Alright. There you are, Carla. That's 10k. Ugh. I remember I was saving up for something last time we played it. And I'll just continue saving. Whip, 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 whip. What? Is it just this? Ooh, moon fragments. I was expecting a treasure chest over here, come on. Oh, big loud truck. What's the matter, Tao? Look, a journal. It's written in the language of the Clink Kingdom. So the Clink Kingdom was investigating this place too. What does it say? Well, it's pretty beat up, from what little is illegible here. Damaged by a demon and an otherworldly relic, and there's something about a key to reviving the kingdom. The key to reviving the kingdom, which means it was written after the invasion. The Research Institute also mentioned power for the kingdom. I wonder if it has anything to do with this otherworldly relic. Empel, you don't think this is... Possibly, but we've already come this far. Let's wait and see before jumping to any conclusions. We'll fight this thing. And we can enjoy the only track that I was already aware of Atelier Ryza, which is the only reason why I added it, because I've heard it's the only track of Atelier Ryza that I've heard before, like before playing it. So also, I don't like to spoil myself on the music, but I've already heard this track, so it's already spoiled for me, so I don't mind listening to it in this. This is Cygnus, and there it goes. Before we didn't even get a chance to listen to it because everything's dying too quick. But Cygnus is a great fucking track. And it's weird, and I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. YouTube, or at least like YouTube recommendations, thinks Cygnus is the final boss theme for Atelier Ryza when it isn't. It's another track called The Flea Incident that plays during the final boss. And like, it's interesting that if you search like Atelier Ryza final boss theme, it puts some Cygnus in front of you when it's not the fucking final boss theme. And I'm like, huh. Like, I can only assume it's because Cygnus is more memorable, so it's probably what more people are actually looking for, so it's ended up that way. But it's just interesting because it's not actually accurate. What's down here? Well, I'm a little gutted these ruins are so tiny, and there's nothing to like pick up and investigate around the way, but I guess it was my fault for expecting it to be like the whole Ryza 2 ruin depth thing. 'Cause that was like my favourite fucking feature in Ryza 2, exploring all the ruins. I genuinely love that feature so much. And I hope they find a way to bring something like it back in a future game. Oh, do we need to like drop down? Is there a way to drop down?
So youことだ.
We need to be down there. Oh, does it go around the big circle? Hang on. And I just didn't notice. Yes, it absolutely does. I just didn't notice. My bad. The door. It's locked. And look at all the marks left by people who tried to pry it open. This must be as far as the Clink Kingdom explorers got. If it's locked this tight, it must lead to the heart of the ruins. It's playing that Age of God theme again, the one that always makes me nervous. It's actually a relatively haunting track. She's gonna be like, I bet I can get this open. Ha! Look at that, typical ancient trickery. Have you figured out how to open the door? Yup, the key is an ore. Not just any ore, it's a special kind only found in the underworld. You have to let the ore's power flow through you in order to unlock the door. An otherworldly relic. I see, so that's what the Clink Kingdom people meant. Only those who can access the underworld can open this door. Exactly. Now we need to find the ore.
Oi.
And... oh, that was lucky. Oh, we need 5. Never mind, not so lucky. Never mind. We're going home. Where's... oh god, what's the Atelier button? There we go. Do we just have to pick it up? No, fucking buttons. Actually, it'll probably be quicker to do this and then try and hunt it down. It's probably going to be near the bottom. Whoops. Shit. Oh, so just around the gaff. Got it. I didn't know if there's going to be a specific point I should be looking for, that was all.
Oh.
違う世界か。すげえ不思議だけど、楽しければ何でもいいさ。
見つけた。
Aha.
暗くなってきたな。
One.
まだ探索を続けるなら付き合うぞ。
There we go, that's better.
いいもの手に入るかな。てやー。
They need to be we're going to get a whole bunch because the quality needs to be above 100.
俺も使えるのか？
どんな素材も無駄にならないからね。
Okay, thanks. So I really need the eroded stone.
ライザなら有効活用してくれるよね。
And then I'll do this to I think this will reset the spawns.
水が戻った聖地。
Yep, I literally saw that rock pop back into existence.
少しでも昔の
And then hopefully after this, I'll double check, but hopefully after this we'll have enough and we can go back quick.
集めておきましょう。
Oh, the fact that the game's not putting the tick on it anymore tells me we've got enough.
集めちゃいましょうね。
This is all just extras now.
石はかさばるし重たいんだよな。こういうのは俺に任せてくれ。
集めておこう。
Alright, bye Underworld, it's lovely to see you again.
どこに行く？
Yeah, there's only 10 treasure chests in total this whole area.
おーい。
Alright, let's get this open.
これで大丈夫。
Alright, let's see if this works. Alright, it's opened. Come on, guys. Whoa, look at all this ancient literature that I just clipped through. Looks like we're at a dead end. What is this place? Doesn't seem like there's anything special in here. This is how we entered the ruins, right? There's no door anywhere, so what in the world? Impossible. Did you see the same thing, Empor? Is there a problem? A problem? Even calling it a big problem would be putting it mildly. Why would they do such an idiotic... Okay, show the class. I'm a bit confused myself, so let me start from the conclusion and work backwards. You know the islet near the village? In the middle of the river? It seems like the king of Felucia still there. You're kidding! That means there's a gate here after all. No, the king was transported here through the gate in the ruins we explored last year. The ancients, unlike the people of the Age of God in the Clink Kingdom, were unaware of the existence of the underworld. Oh yeah, the ancients is Frozen Moon Witch. These people were the victims of the invasion due to the sudden appearance of a gate. In retrospect, it was a miracle that physically sealing the gate with ruins even worked. True, but what's the connection between that and the King Felucia? They must have been studying him. They must have been studying him.
As long as they don't know when or where the gate occurs, it's impossible to defend against it. So they decided to study the Felucia, to learn their weaknesses and make them less of a threat. But they never made any headway, so they sealed the king deep underground.
Oh no. So the Clint Kingdom and the Institute both knew that he was here and...
No, I doubt the Research Institute knew. If they had, they definitely wouldn't have gotten involved. They've done some unsavory things, but their objective remains the same, to serve the kingdom. Developing medicines to combat injury, disease, and pestilence, as well as raising the standard of living, was their primary goal. War and plunder were never on the agenda. They may have gone a bit far at times, but on the whole... That's what I thought. What do you think the Institute was doing here, Empel? Maybe something to do with the underworld. Something more powerful than the tools of the ancients. If they could get their hands on that, then they wouldn't have to rely on alchemy for power. Sounds likely since they knew their alchemists weren't very capable. I suppose what Empel and I were looking for last year was this facility. Weren't you looking for the gate of the ruins near the capital last year? More precisely, we were looking for a way to prevent the natural gates that the ancients have been studying. We found a reference to it in a document that Empel picked up during his travels. It must be related to the research on the Felucia done here. So, is the Felucia here going to stay asleep indefinitely? The seal was powerful, but the Clint Kingdom and the Research Institute had ransacked these ruins pretty badly, which means now it's far from perfect. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if it broke.
In that case, we better finish the Felucia King off while they have the chance.
Right. Now that we know it's here, we have to do something about it. To break the seal on the islet, we need to activate the crystal there. It's the same thing we did at the ruins, but this seems to require some pretty powerful magic.
Gotcha. I'll go to the Atelier and come up with a new recipe.
Synthesize a white moon soul.
I bet that's what the moon fragments we've been picking up are for.
こういうのは俺に任せてくれ。
発見集めておこう
So basically the ancients ended up with a Felucia King on their hands, and not knowing what to do with it, and not knowing where it came from, isolated it and locked it up instead of like trying to find the gate or trying to send it back or anything like that. They couldn't find the gate, so they just locked it up. Well, at least we've got another Felucian King to deal with, I guess. Alright, let's see if we have enough moon fragments to make this, or whether I'm fucked. White Moon Soul. Hey, the Lydian Suli, Oh, I've run out of space. Whoops. There we go. The Lydian Suli, Atelier theme.
どれにしようかなマテリアル缶開放入れる場所は材料は何入れようかな
Lydia Suli is another game I really wouldn't mind going back through once I've done like every Atelier game. But that'd honestly depend. Like how I feel at the time, sort of thing. Because there are some revisits I want to do. I've said before many times, I want to revisit Sophie 2 at some point. I really want to revisit that one because I really enjoyed that game.
どれにしようかな鍵の出番ね鍵の力期待してるよどこに入れよう
I don't know why I'm putting so much effort into this. We're just gonna like give it in and unlock a boss, but still.
入れる場所はよし行け何作ろうかな
どこか行くのか
Dun, 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 dun.
dun, 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 dun. So I'm going.
手伝って
Oh shit.
さらなら余裕ね
ボス戦士の証に初めて戦い見せてみろ
Didn't mean to jump into you. The music was getting ready. The music was ready. It's like, oh, you're up for this fucking fight? Like, no, get me out of here. No, I'm not. It seems like, at least from what I can tell, this story's not going to be too long, though, in the grand scheme. I think we're going to fight this king, and then it'll probably wrap up. So we'll just go do the side quests afterwards. Alright.
これで大丈夫ですか
I imagine this is going to immediately lead into the boss fight. Either that, or we have to go back to the islet, and it'll be there then. Okay, it looks like it was successfully activated. It should unseal the islet. We have to hurry before that Felucia escapes.
よしここがいいな
Oh, this way. Oh, we haven't been here. I didn't realize this was here. I was like, oh, I was expecting it to take us there. Whoops.
そこ 出番よ
Oh my goodness, a use! When was the last time we had to do that? Oh, you look a bit beefed up for a Felucian king. Look at the glow.
ありがとね
Oh, here goes nothing. So this was the one that was locked up. I like the look of it. It doesn't look like the other usual Felucian kings. Whoa, a king of Felucia, right here in our world. Yep, it's been waiting for us all these years, all alone. Dreaming of the day it can finally be free. I like it, it's a cool design. This thing's a beast! Look, you can tell it despises us. You can understand why it's angry. It's been locked away for so long. But this is as far as we're letting you get. Oh, we're gonna fucking destroy this thing. What level is it? The Crownless Queen. Oh, it's not a king, it's a queen. Does that mean it's gonna do the same thing the queens did in the first game? Is it's a spirit gonna come out of this thing after we kill it? I'm gonna try and get a key out of it before we kill it.
みんなさっさと終わらせるぞ
どれにしようかなお願い成功してよしできた
Nice.
それとどめてこれでおしまいとどめてあげるよ
I hope there's a phase 2, because otherwise we're gonna eviscerate this thing.
風よ力を貸してくれ癒しの力じゃ
始めるよ大盤振る舞いよ
And the track that's playing is Maria from Atelier Ryza, I believe. This thing's already fucked. This thing's so nearly dead already. Whoops. Phase 2? Oh, what happened there? What, why didn't we just stop for a second? I thought that was a phase shift happening. Phase 2? Or is it done? It's done. I think that's the problem of us doing the other DLC first. We're way too strong now. Because I super fucking kitted out to beat that super boss. We did it. Yep. This area should be safe now. If anyone wants to explore the ruins, there won't be Felucia waiting for them. I can't help but feel a little sorry for it. I prayed its soul return safely to Auron. I guess our work here is done. No Clifford? Ah, he called us over here and he's not even here to see us. Shall we get going then? Yeah, let's head back to the Atelier and pack up. I suppose, once again, free DLC, but man, it's short. Turn to the outskirts of Atelier. It's literally like a third of the length of the paid DLC, and I was like, I get it. Of course, the paid one's longer, but still, I'm like, man. I was hoping it'd give us, the second game's map. That's what I thought it was when it was, the Aisha and Bard area, and maybe we will after we beat it, and it'll be like, hey, now you can go back and have a look around. But I am a little underwhelmed. I get it's a free DLC, but man. I suppose, though, it's to stop... Like, Ryza 1, and I said this even in Ryza 2, Ryza 1 felt a little invalidated. Like, you play it for the story, but if you play it for its content, you might as well just play Ryza 2. And I suppose Ryza 3, not having Ryza 2's map, stops that risk from being a thing for Ryza 2. Like, Ryza 2, its own game design still holds its individuality, because Ryza 2 has Ryza 1's map outside of the island. I need to, like, clear out my container. Oh. Damn it, I was like, is there a chance? Knock knock, you getting ready to leave? Yeah, we're just finished up. I see. Hopefully the ruins didn't dampen your impression of the village. Of course not. We had a great time here. We just had to hesitate for 30 seconds before answering you. Our apologies for making you come out to us. We should have gone to you first. Not at all. I just remembered I had something to give you. Take this. Is this an alchemical recipe? Where did you get this? Remember I mentioned an alchemist who lived in our village long ago? He left his unfinished recipe behind. He came to this village just after the institute researchers left, and he was helping everyone like a doctor. Whenever someone was injured or sick, he made medicine for them. He was such a kind man. Just hearing about him made me decide to become a doctor myself. This is a great recipe. Even though it's unfinished, it's completed. It'll be enough to heal any serious injury. You need to complete it. I can't. It's incredibly complicated, and I'm not confident I can even follow it as is. This recipe? That alchemist, he tried to make this medicine to help your village. He said it was to atone for his sins, I believe. Oh, is it Emil's? He didn't sound like a bad person to me. And Ryza's now clocked it. He went, don't tell me. He was here all this time? After many years, he left to seek the knowledge he needed to perfect his medicine. Oh, okay. My opinion of this DLC goes up a little bit. They've given Emil and the past with Empel some kind of closure. Empel knows that Emil had regrets. That he came here to atone for his sins. Like, he had regrets for everything that happened. So that can ease Empel's mind, hopefully. He left to seek the knowledge he needs to perfect his medicine. To where exactly, I'm afraid I don't know. I'm sorry. I see. Hope this recipe will come in handy to you one day. Take care. This recipe. It's Emil's, isn't it? Yeah. I knew the instant I laid eyes on it. There's no mistaking it.
Atone for his sins, which means...
Who knows? Maybe he meant it, maybe not. Maybe he was just trying to get sympathy. But he was definitely helping the people of this village by making medicine for them, right? I mean, that's just me giving him the benefit of the doubt. No, I know. All along, he must have been honing his skills while helping people. All in the process, he came up with this recipe. I'm just astounded.
Empol, you should have it. He might have been trying to make it all this time just for you.
For heaven's sake. Could he have left me a bigger headache of a recipe?
Make sure you finish it.
I will, no matter how long it takes.
And that's it. Theory time. That recipe will lead to a medicine in a fourth game that Ryza or whatever new alchemist in the game has to perfect, which ends up being the medicine that cures everything, that then helps Claudia's mum. I'm calling it now. This is setup. Calling it now. That's my theory, that's going to be a setup. But we're done. That's the story. A medicine with free spirit. Jesus Christ, there's so much I haven't made. Let's see if we can do some of this quick. Oh, that's medicinal. But all in all, it's an okay. It's a free DLC, so I didn't expect much, but it's okay. The ending made up for it. The ending actually giving closure to a story arc was kind of nice. Oh, Jesus Christ, where is it? Oh, free spirit. Life force, swelling power. God throw, strong throw, lightning throw. Dun 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 dun. If I run again, just quickly to make sure I do it. Free spirit, pledge of support, Knight's Oath, Warrior's Oath. You know what, before we start, guide, effects. I wish there was a manual, like, almost Google search that I could do on this. So I could just say, like, do I have free spirit? And it'd be like, free spirit entries listed here, here, and here. I'm not that fussed we can't do it because it's just little side stuff. I'll just do it in my spare time when I eventually do actually go around to 100%ing this game, whenever that is. It's just if I can do it now, I'd like to. That'll be a negative then, I fear. Unless it's an effect. Oh Jesus, look at how much of this is. Oh god. Dun 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 dun. Sorry, it's BR2 music, of course I'm gonna hum it. It's one of the most like inviting and like coziest tracks I can think of. For me. This is such an insanely long list. You know what? I'm just gonna...
どれにしようかな。
Energy recovery, poison cure, sleep cure, paralysis, yada yada cure, super trait, recovery, hit recovery L,
何作ろうかな。
healing taste.
何作ろうかな。何作ろうかな。何作ろうかな。
Promise and death defying.
何作ろうかな。入れる場所は
Sweet sugary taste. Best gulp. Okay,
何作ろうかな。
I'm gonna assume we don't have it, so we... Outside of trying to find some punies to kill and whatnot, I think we're done here. I know it means this is a shorter stream, but we're done. This ended up being the opposite. The actual story beat, it was only like... Get here, talk to the doctor, set up a base, talk to the doctor again, check the ruin, build something for the ruin, check the big ruin, build something for that ruin, go fight the boss, done. It's actually pretty short. But I unfortunately have to do the other thing now we're here, which is accept we're done. We're done with everything Ryza. We've done everything across the whole trilogy. All the DLCs, all the extra stuff. I've nearly platinumed this game. I just need to do a few other little bits and bobs. In terms of streaming, we're fucking done with the Ryza games. If we ever return to Secret Saga, it won't be Ryza 4. It'll probably be a new protagonist. I'd be very surprised if it's Ryza 4, considering how much this game makes an effort to bookend everything with Ryza and Ryza alone. Which, it does make me feel a little sad, if I'm honest. It does, because I genuinely... Despite some gripes and despite some experiments that might not have been the way they hoped, and some others that were really good, the Ryza trilogy as a whole were really fucking good for me. I really loved the stories, I really loved the characters. Even the ones I wasn't that fond of in Ryza 1 came to life in whole new ways in later games. Boss and Tao are perfect examples of what I mean. I did not care one bit for Tao, and I really enjoyed him in 2. I really didn't like Boss, and he's like my favourite character now. It's depressing, in a way, to kind of see the end of all of it, because it's been such a fun journey. I've had such a good time with it since December when I started Ryza 1. I need to clear out my inventory, I'll do that in my spare time. But yeah, like, fuck, you know, like, it's just like... We're here. All in all, yeah, like, I understand the success, and I'm happy for it, and I'm glad I got to experience these games properly. Because I said I experienced Ryza 1 a little bit when it first came out, but just never finished it. I thought I had, but it turned out, it revealed itself to me as I got started getting trophies that I really hadn't. I don't know when or where I stopped, or where I came to the conclusion I'd beaten it, but I just hadn't. And now I got to actually experience it and enjoy it, and I can safely say, like the Mysterious Saga, I'll hold it very close to my heart. It's a phenomenal series. It does things different, and not everything it nails, but what it does nail and what it does have, I fucking love, and it will be a real shame to see it go. Obviously, it might not be the end whenever Secret 4 happens, but even if Secret 4 doesn't does happen, I still have the memories I'll have of this trilogy. And I'm glad I got to have it. And I think ending it at the place we started is the perfect place to do so, which is why I came back home. Let me save. So here's to you, Razorlin Stout. Thanks for having an awesome fucking trilogy, and I hope this isn't the very last time we see of you. Even if this is the last time we'll be playing as you. As always, thank you all so much for watching. It's alright, it's kind of hitting me a little bit that we're done. Like, I am just feeling a little sad. So I'm just like, no, man. Like, I felt this way when we finished Sophie 2. Like, I knew we were done. I was just like, man, you know? Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely really helps this channel grow. And until next time we meet in the Atelierverse, we'll be continuing Maruru tomorrow. And until next time we meet in the Secret Saga, whenever that may be, thank you so much for watching. Until then, you guys take care now. Peace.
どうも